Hello and a very good morning. I'm Hadif Haqeem from 6BME3. The rise of aviation industry during the pandemic period. During the pandemic period, the airline industry is not doing well because there is less flight or travel opportunities around the world at that time of the year. The least we can say is that the airline industry was hit hard by the ongoing pandemic. The numerous travel restrictions have impacted many people's lives and some have even destroyed them. As for airlines, it is a visible sign of coping with change and what airlines can do to quickly transform themselves in order to survive the coronavirus pandemic. This graph shows RPM of Delta Airlines, a revenue passenger miles. RPM is a transportation industry metric that shows the number of miles traveled by paying passengers and is typically an airline traffic statistic. Passengers volume dropped an unprecedented 70% in April 2020, and the industry is set to lose billions that year alone. A number of airlines around the world have already gone bust, and nobody knows how long the downturn is gonna last. So, in order to stay in the business, airlines have to make quickly and make choices whether or not to keep flying and where to send those planes when demand is so low. Flying too many planes means losing money, but flying too few means missing out on passenger demand and potentially losing market shares. Besides, Hong Kong have asked their employees to take unpaid leave. Others like Emirates have laid off staff. Airlines are desperate to further cut costs and raise financing. As for post-COVID, about one-third of the global fleet is not grounded anymore. This number has drastically increased as Flight Radar is now reporting more than 15,000 planes mid-flight. More available routes had opened for aircraft to travel. Next, the European Cockpit Association estimated that over 18,000 had been rehired over the course of the post-pandemic. Other than that, there's report of 60% increase in global traffic. The tourism industry were back to a stable business as international travel was up to 64%. This equates to 1.3 billion passengers, 252 billion in the revenue by the airline and 111 billion in the airport revenue. ICAO states international travel make up for around 8% of the global GDP and thus 2.7 trillion has increased since airlines have been able to fly. Tourism is essential to the economic growth of some countries and can make up to 20% of their revenues. This helps to alleviate poverty and provide jobs. Other than that, is the increase in ticket prices. With airlines amazing huge debts and being left economically and been through a massive hit from the pandemic, they are forced to charge higher rates to customers. Airlines also need to prioritize stockpiling cash and make safer investment. Next, more cargo flight annual revenue came from cargo flight was 13% after COVID. As some of these flights are no longer running, cargo demand has increased to around 30% of the total revenue. Additionally, e-commerce sales have skyrocketed due to COVID restriction, and companies like Shopee and Lazada have increased in popularity. It appears that now cargo flight has been a lifeline for many airlines during and after the pandemic. After the pandemic, The aviation world is predicted massive growth. As a result, more planes were produced by both Boeing and Airbus. Finally, the recovery. Nearly everyone accepts the fact that airlines will recover back to all-time highs within the next 5 years. IATA suggests that carriers in the Asia Pacific region will recover first, followed up by the US and the Europe. And that's exactly the trend we are seeing right now. As more people are vaccinated, more countries will open their border to international travel. The current vaccination rate are good enough that EU predicted recovery volume to be at least 70% by 2022 in most major countries.